This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla, create your own digital magazine. Welcome to the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook, back on Dutch soil for the fifth round of the championship, where it's one of the highlights of the Gamma racing days at Assen. This event brings in huge numbers of fans as well as lots of cars and drivers, all of which adds up to a great spectacle. But it wasn't the greatest weekend for everyone. There were plenty of twists and turns in the plot. See it all happen in this programme with the highlights of both one-hour races for the GT and Sport divisions of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. The TT circuit at Assen, Holland's Cathedral of Speed, opened for motorcycle racing in July 1925 on a 28-kilometre layout over the country roads around Assen in the north of the country. From 1955, there was a shorter version that would become the circuit as we know it now, the 7.7-kilometre Noordlus, the Northern Loop. In 1992, the circuit was officially closed to ordinary traffic, and in 2006, the Noordlus as a whole came to an end. The main straight was shortened by a kilometre, leaving the circuit we know now. The local province invests heavily in maintaining the TT circuit as a world-class racetrack, and the Gamma Racing Days contribute to that effort. This well-known free event attracts nearly 100,000 visitors over 2 days. In the GT division, championship leaders Vaardsluis and Baschouten are on pole for the first race of the weekend. It's their fifth pole this season, and after consultation with JR Motorsport and Team RaceArt, the top two teams in the championships, the organisers have acted to slow down the leading cars. For example, the silhouettes, like this BMW M4, must reduce their maximum revs to produce less power, and RaceArt has changed Roger Graal's Porsche 991 Cup car back to a standard exhaust. Roger was second in qualifying, only 0.2 off the pole. There's another newcomer in a JR Motorsport BMW M4 silhouette in the form of 17-year-old Willem Meyer, this season mainly racing in TCR Benelux as part of KNAF Talent First. He makes an impressive debut, third in qualifying, and much more is possible, he reckons. We had gearbox problems in free practice, so I only did 6 laps to learn the car. Basically, qualifying was just more practice to get to grips with it. This season I'm driving in a TCR championship. This is such a different car, so much more downforce. At the end of qualifying, I asked the team how I was doing. They told me I had 2 pole positions. Couldn't believe it, but it was too good to be true. Race control cancelled my fastest laps for exceeding track limits, but I'm very confident. Looking forward to the race. 0.8 of a second off pole position, Bob Herber, 4th on the grid in the BMW F80 GTMR. And starting 5th place, another new name. It's Frenchman Alexandre Joannem. He's been invited to share the DVB Racing Porsche GT3 Cup car with Turk Cenk Seiska. Reigning Supersport 1 champion Martin de Klein is away on holiday. He's been replaced by Stan Van Oort, the TCR Benelux driver, claiming the second pole position of the season for Ferry Monster Autosport.
Ja, we zijn natuurlijk hartstikke blij dat we ook Dennis de Borst en van het team Ferry Monster Autosport...
Delighted to be given the chance to race this weekend by Dennis de Borst and Ferry Monster Autosport. Claiming pole for both races is great. Car was just amazing. Team gave me a perfect handling car, felt very well planted, and luckily I managed to find a traffic-free lap. So all in all, the perfect conditions for setting pole. I'm very happy. We'll catch up with the Supersport 2 and Sport classes later, but first of all, the action from the GT and Supersport 1 fields. Vaardsluis in the BMW M4 silhouette on pole as we ride on board with Edward Graals. He's in 6th position. Alexandre Joannem and the multicoloured Porsche alongside him. Roger Graals, the best Porsche on the grid, starting 2nd place. Getting ready for the rolling start. Lights off and away we go. Lightning start from the Frenchman on the right-hand side. Vardslice with the white and blue, trying to hold off the dark car of Roger Grauls and Willem Meyer, the all-white car on the inside. He tucks into third, Joannem around the outside. Marcel van Berlo going by Bob Herber. There's Herber down to sixth position in his unique BMW. With Willem Meyer, look there on the outside, Alexandre Joannem trying to go by Vardslice. Roger Grauls the leader, but the outside line doesn't pay off for Grauls. Now he gets to the inside and keeps his nose in front, drifting out wide there. Vardslice is going to lose second. Oh, there's the Porsches. And look, Joannem leader. Roger Grauls very slow off the corner. Willem Meyer goes up to second. What happened there to Roger Grauls? On the long, fast, back straight, the Feenslang. Roger Grauls in all sorts of trouble there, streaming by him. There he is on the right-hand side. Alexandre Joannem leading the field. But the big question is, what's up with Roger Grauls? Out of Ossenbrücken on the straight, it's not pulling any more gears. They're all going by him, so he's stuck in a lower gear, can't get up into top gear. Car in the pits, team are going to try and fix it, but that looks as though he has another DNF on his hands.
Kon in de eerste bocht wacht pakken.
Got by Vardslice in the first corner, shifted up to fourth, and from then on I was stuck in gear. Had to come in, now it's race over for us. There's no way we could continue with the gearbox stuck in gear, unfortunately. There is a Porsche in the lead though. It's Alexandre Joannem with Willem Meyer in second, ahead of Vardslice the poleman, then Marcel van Berlo and Bob Herber. Edward Grauls in eighth. Then Supersport 1 leader Dennis de Borst in ninth. And here's how the start looked from on board with Dennis in a Seat Leon Cup car. Van der Munkhoff alongside, the orange car Peter Schroers, with Ronald van Loon making a very slow start in his BMW. And Dennis de Borst with his eyes on the main prize, looking to get in amongst the GT cars. Van der Munkhoff second, Schroers third, and a couple of cars drifting out very wide. Benjamin Vandenberg. Vandenberg going back around the outside of Van der Munkhoff for second place, at least trying to. Van der Munkhoff on the inside is Z4 with the 1 Series alongside. Benjamin Vandenberg making a good start. Costa Canaroglu also starting well in the Ginetta G50, but it lacks top-end speed and might struggle on the faster parts of the Assen circuit. No problem getting through the tight stuff though. On the Feenslang, you can see he's being out-dragged though. Peter Schroers comes the long way round the outside, so he'll take third place from Costa Canaroglu. Canaroglu will be under attack all the way around here, just as he was at Spa. Still the battle for second, Erik van der Munkhoff and Benjamin Vandenberg. We're right behind with Peter Schroers, and already you can see that the Seat has leaped ahead. There's Roger Grauls going slowly, and that catches out Erik van der Munkhoff. We move up to third with Peter Schroers, Benjamin Vandenberg in second place. Costa Canaroglu trying to make the most of the Ginetta's handling, got right up underneath the orange BMW. Erik van der Munkhoff in fourth place as they get to the Geert Timmer chicane at the end of lap 1. Gets a good run going here. 3 BMWs of very different types. A 3 Series, a 1 Series and a Z4. And down the inside, no chance there for Van der Munkhoff. The door closed. Schroers trying to go out wide. Contact! And Benjamin Vandenberg heavily into the bank as they start lap 2. Safety car is scrambled, but that looks like the end of the race for Benjamin Vandenberg.
Peter die wou een inhaalactie doen.
Peter tried to go around the outside, outbrake me. Obviously it didn't work quite as he planned, so he went off. Van der Munkhoff was trying to get by on the inside. Schroers came back onto the track. We both ended up hitting each other, and that was the end of my race. That was the moment that I got airborne. Benjamin Vandenberg out after 1 lap of racing. Peter Schroers was able to continue, but the steering was offset by 2 centimeters.
Ik wist dat mijn concurrent aan de binnenkant zat. En ik liet ook...
I knew he was on the inside. I tried to give him as much room as possible. Didn't expect him to come this far out though, and that's where I was. Collision was impossible to avoid, unfortunately. Safety car was also scrambled because of a long trail of cooling fluid into Ramshoek, not a place you want to go off. And that was caused by Jos Jansen's car. He's out on lap 1 as well.
In de tweede bocht had ik even contact met
In the second corner, I bumped into Edward Grauls. and that damaged the tyre valve and the tyre started slowly deflating. Had to slow down a bit. Some of the Supersport cars got by me, but in doing so, one of them hit the tyre stack on the apex of the corner. That spun towards my car, and I couldn't avoid the tyre stack. Unfortunately, that smashed the radiator. End of our race. Back to green flag racing after 4 laps. Alexandre Joannem leading, battle on for 4th place. Looking back from Marcel van Berlo. There is Bob Herbert. Slips up the inside into the Geert Timmer chicane. Mark van der Aar watching from behind. Herbert just about clinging on. Van der Aar gets a very good run though. So it's a 3-way battle for 4th. Trying to find a way by Marcel van Berlo. Mark van der Aar on the inside in the black silhouette, and he goes through. Started 33rd. He and Koen Burkhardt couldn't qualify. They had a problem with the clutch. Having a great run, and out wide goes Bob Herbert. And that means that Mark van der Aar is now 4th. Alexandre Joannem still clinging to the lead. From qualifying times, he knew that the M4 silhouettes would be quicker, and so it is proving despite that reduction in the revs. 3rd place with Vard Slice, Willem Meyer in 2nd. The Porsche still the race leader. Down the inside into the Geert Timmer chicane. Willem Meyer straight through. Vard Slice all over the back of Alexandre Joannem. And the Porsche driver doing his level best to stay in front. Silhouette drivers weren't happy that their revs had been cut, but they still have the speed. Vard Slice moves up to 2nd place. Time for the mandatory pit stops, and Vard Slice still in 2nd place. BMW M4 silhouettes clearly running very well indeed, despite that reduction in revs. Bas Schouten taking over, ready for the second part of the race. Really fun race, said Vard. After the safety car, really enjoyed myself. Bas Schouten's lap times are amazing, so fingers crossed we can win today. In Supersport 1, Dennis de Borst leading. This is the battle for 2nd. Peter Schroyers in the orange BMW and Costa Canaroglu in the Ginetta G50. More twists and turns at Assen than there are at Spa. Canaroglu looking a lot more competitive as a result. Dennis de Borst handing over in the pit stops to Stan van Oord as the Supersport 1 leader, but the team are looking under the bonnet, and it looks as though there are some worried expressions. Gearbox is playing up, says Dennis. They've tried to reset the software, checking the oil level as well. In 5th gear it was really noisy, so every time I changed straight through to 6 to avoid problems. We've got to find out what the issue is though. Hopefully we'll make it to the end. Costa Canaroglu coming in for his pit stop in 3rd place with 0 result seconds after failing to get on the podium at Spa and Zolder with blown up brake discs last time out. Canaroglu could take the lead of the race here. Van der Munkhoff and Zumbrink have a 30-second penalty to serve. Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oord had 25. Marcel van der Maat and Peter Schroyers 15 seconds. That moved Stan van Oord back behind Marcel van der Maat after the pit stops. They say out taking 10 seconds longer in the pits because of its success penalties. This then is the battle for 2nd place. Stan van Oord all over the back of the BMW, racing in TCR. Won't be that dissimilar to the Seat Leon he's running here. 2-litre turbocharged cars. Very similar performance, very similar grip levels. Oh, he gets edged off into the gravel though by Peter Schroyers, but he keeps his foot in. Stan van Oord's determined to try and make the pass up to 2nd place. And Schroyers equally determined to hold off the Seat Leon, but in the tight, twisty stuff, Stan van Oord is all over the BMW. He's not losing much on the straights either. He's got a great run on the inside, and through he goes. Peter Schroyers can't get onto the power quickly enough, and Stan van Oord is up to 2nd. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to the Supercar Challenge Round 5 at the TT Circuit of Assen in the Netherlands. In the GC class, rookie Willem Meyer has taken the lead with the white BMW M4 silhouette. Mark van der Aar has fought his way from 33rd to 3rd in the first stint, but after pit stops, Koen Boekarts returns. They are out of the race. Gearbox temperature was around 25 degrees over the limit. We've stopped at 75% race distance to score some much needed points. And can't be very happy, I'm afraid. We've got to stay positive though. Tomorrow will be a different race and a huge crowd, so if the car stays together, hopefully we'll give a big show to the fans, starting from the back again. Unfortunately, they stopped at 67% race distance. They needed to do another 3 laps. Maybe that was just a little too far. After the pit stops, Bas Schouten led in GT. Willem Meyer, who came in as the leader, forgot to activate the stopwatch. So just to make sure his pit stop wasn't too short, it was actually too long. He dropped back to 3rd, now behind Bob Herber, battling for 2nd place. Could there be 3 JR Motorsport BMWs on the podium still? Herber clinging on tenaciously. The M4 silhouette of Willem Meyer has the grip advantage. And after 3 laps of battling with the veteran, sneaks through into 2nd place. But it seems that this is not a good weekend for reliability on the M4 silhouettes. His engine cuts out, he has to refire it. Bob Herber goes through back into 2nd. Because they're so far ahead, Willem Meyer remains in 3rd place. Bas Schouten and Vard Slice are left to win their 5th race of the season, 53 seconds ahead of Bob Herber. So Vard Slice, Bas Schouten winning in the M4 silhouette, Bob Herber in 2nd. Willem Meyer does make it 3 JR Motorsport cars completing the podium. Rev reduction or not, the M4 silhouettes still seem to be the class of the field. After the pit stops, Costa Canaroglu leading Supersport 1. He lies in 3rd place in the championship. Dennis de Borst and Stan van Oort's Seat Leon, 2nd place in the race. They lie 2nd in the championship. And then the battle for 3rd place with Luc van Loon, who's taken over from Father Ronald, 4th in the championship in the 3 Series BMW, ahead of Henry Tumbrink, who's taken over from Eric van der Munkhoff. And this is the car, the duo, that leads the Supersport 1 class. Henry going the long way round the outside and manages to find a grip in the Z4 BMW. Luc van Loon not giving it all up quite so easily though in his ex-World Touring Car Championship 3 Series. And in the end, Sumbrink manages just to keep his nose in front. Marcel van der Mark dropped down to 5th place with a poor handling BMW after Peter Schroyers made that contact with Benjamin Vandenberg. Costa Canaroglu winning by 15 seconds from Stan van Oord and Dennis de Borst. 3rd win of the season from Costa Canaroglu, back on the top step after 4 races without finishing on the podium.
Well, yeah, we did some changes to the car, and now I think it's better. We still need to tweak a little bit more, but it's better. Yeah, so I'm more happy, and I think it's better rhythm. Yeah.
Pole position for race 1 in Supersport 2 goes to former Porsche driver René Snell in his classic BMW M3. But in the race, he and his car are outrun by a 20-year-old Bart Aronson. Wasn't even alive when the BMW was first built. But the blue BMW 1 Series, which didn't run in qualifying, started at the back, came through to claim victory from René Snell and Mark Dykes. Excellent race, said Bart. Had a battle pretty much all the way through. Had to come back in right at the start for minor repairs, but luckily it was during the safety car period, so only lost a little bit of time. After the safety car, I was able to battle my way back through right to the front of the field. Pole in sport for race 1 went to Peugeot RCZ drivers Piet de Geer and Martin Kool. A welcome return to action for Martin Kool. He said everything went well. That surprised me a bit because I've been away for a while, became a dad, missed a few races. Good to be back. Excellent start to the weekend. And their excellent start continued as Piet de Geer dominated the first part of the race, setting fastest lap times, building a big advantage, followed by Rob NIEMAN, 3rd in the championship. 3rd in the race, Sander van der Slot and John van der Voort, 2nd in the Sport Championship, but unfortunately their race ended early. In the opening stages everything was okay, able to keep up with the competition, but after a while the engine performance dropped off, so clearly something's gone wrong. Don't know what at the moment, but that might be the end of our weekend. Trouble for another female driver. This is Kim Troyen, whose engine blew up 5 laps before the end of the race. After pit stops, the lead battle between Martin Kuhl in the Peugeot and Rob NIEMAN in the Clio 3, another 1.6 litre engine. 40 kilos of penalty weight this weekend, but nevertheless he manages to get the run on the Peugeot and through he goes. The battle continues right to the end of the race, and it's a narrow victory, just 0.55 of a second, separating Rob NIEMAN, the winner, from Martin Kuhl. A classic close race in the Tiddler class. The sport machines, Chris Vogt and Bart van der Broek in their Peugeot RCZ, claiming a solid podium in third.
Auto is verschrikkelijk moeilijk, maar ik zag op een gegeven moment dat Cole en
Car was really hard to handle, said Rob NIEMAN. When I was gaining on Martin Kuhl and good old Peter Gear, I saw they were having a problem with their tyres as well, so I kept pushing, and in the end that worked in my favour. Barely a second between us all the way to the finish line. Had some problems with cars going by us at high speeds. I almost collided with the Peugeot, but we didn't hit each other. No paint was exchanged. The mirrors are still attached to the car. So a good, clean, fair race. Let's go to the podium. Chris Vogt and Bart van der Broek, the championship leaders, claimed third in the race, but almost didn't make it to the flag. A malfunctioning intake sensor caused problems. A shame, because they have a new engine for this big race weekend. John van der Voort and Sander van der Slot will start in race 2 in a Spirit Racing Clio loaned to them by Rob NIEMAN. They've dropped down to third in the championship now, 19 points behind NIEMAN. It's the main race day, so everybody is eager to do well, with over 80,000 fans packing the circuit of Assen on a bright and sunny Sunday. The grandstands are full, the conditions are perfect. It's time to get your race face on. Meanwhile, another decision by the organisers, the BMW M4 Silhouettes again reducing their rev limit for Sunday's race. 8,000 RPM is the maximum. Bas Schouten on pole will have his work cut out. Roger Graals sits alongside, still second in the GT rankings despite dropping out of race 1. 9 points ahead of Bob Herber. 17-year-old Willem Meyer lies in third place on the grid. He'll have Bas Schouten's helmet on. His own intercom broke. Bob Herber in fourth. 2 podiums out of 3 races in the new car. Alexandre Joannem, Frenchman, 10th in the Porsche Cup Challenge last year. He'll start 5th ahead of Marcel van Berlo, whose early promise was not rewarded by the result he'd hoped for in race 1. Pole position in Supersport 1, again Dennis de Borst and the Seat Leon. They've replaced the gearbox with a regular DSG version, slower gear shifts. Championship leaders Henry Zumbrink and Eric van der Munkhoff, that's not them. They're 22 points behind. In the Supersport 1 class, they start third with Marcel van der Maat alongside. And first race winner Costa Canaroglu again will be 6th in class with 15 result seconds during his pit stop. Bas Schouten leading the field in the M4 Silhouette. Roger Graals alongside in the dark Porsche. Then Willem Meyer, Bob Herber, row 2. Alexandre Joannem, Marcel van Berlo on row 3. Pole sitter with the right hand inside line. We're 5th with Alexandre Joannem. Look at the grandstands, absolutely rammed. Beautiful conditions for the second race of the weekend. What will Bas Schouten, the pole sitter, do? Waiting for the lights to change. They're red and away we go. Willem Meyer in the all-white Silhouette trying to make a good start on the inside. Joannem getting held up behind the BMW M4 Silhouettes. Bob Herber the long way around the outside. A little bobble there from Bas Schouten, the pole sitter. Very wide on the outside from Bob Herber. Comes back on in second behind Roger Graals. Bas Schouten right in front of us in third as we ride in fourth with Alexandre Joannem. Willem Meyer in 5th position, then I think Marcel van Berlo just ahead of Edward Graals. Bob Herber side by side with Bas Schouten. So how will this work as they head out onto the Feinslang for the first time? The long, fast back straight. The Porsche of Alexandre Joannem goes one side. Bob Herber goes the other side. Bas Schouten swallowed up, doesn't have the revs. Can't use maximum power from that BMW engine. And he drops down to 4th place. Bob Herber in front. Herber's car looking a real handful though. Roger Graals, the race leader. Alexandre Joannem in second. Then Bob Herber and Bas Schouten. Then Willem Meyer in 5th place. having to shift up at 8,000 RPM. They can't get the maximum out of the engine in the M4 Silhouette. They're going to have to work very hard indeed, Bas Schouten and Bard Slice, to claim a 6th win of the season. But he's got a line on the inside of Bob Herber. Squeezes up the inside, so the handling of the M4 Silhouette is still what it was. Just doesn't quite have the top end speed. But he moves up into 3rd. Now, can he hang on the straights? Bob Herbert should still have a top speed advantage. And the Porsche's going away. Full course yellow. Everybody's slowing right down now. And here's why. Chris Vogt chasing Rob NIEMAN for 2nd in the sport class. NIEMAN goes offline, comes back on. And Chris Vogt can't avoid him. Rob NIEMAN in the gravel. He'll rejoin a lap later. Under full course yellow, maximum on the speed limiter of 80 kilometers an hour. Bas Schouten chatting to the team. And it sounds like they're down a cylinder or maybe 2. Bas Schouten brings the car in after just 2 laps.
Ja, er is iets niet goed met de motor.
Something wrong with the engine. It was running on 4 5 cylinders instead of 6. So the engine power's dropped, and continuing racing with this problem might cause even more serious engine damage. So unfortunately, end of our race. One M4 Silhouette down and another with problems. In race 1, Mark van der Arn, Koen Bokart's gearbox overheated, 25 degrees over the limit. Now they're paying the price. They will not be able to put on a big show for the huge crowd here. They're out on lap 2 as well. Back to green flag racing. Alexandre Joannem, the yellow, black and red car, in 2nd place ahead of Bob Herber and the all-white M4 Silhouette of Willem Meyer. Roger Graal still the race leader, just a few car lengths in front. Out very wide, Alexandre Joannem makes a mistake. Bob Herber right with him. So too is Willem Meyer, car number 122. Now, can Bob Herber get by the Porsche on Fenslang? And will that then open up the door for Willem Meyer, who is right under Bob Herber's back bumper? BMW's not able to close on the Porsche. Alexandre Joannem looks as though he might be starting to pull away, and Bob Herber again a problem. Really loose under braking there. And through comes Willem Meyer, part of the KNAF Talent First programme run by the Royal Dutch Autosport Federation, training youngsters, getting them ready for a professional race series. Driver training, simulator training, living on a sports campus, and a chance here to put all that to good effect against a veteran like Bob Herber, and the 17-year-old doing a really good job. Bob Herber managed to recover his composure just to hang on in 3rd place. Willem Meyer in 4th, and of course with that rev reduction, Meyer having to learn where his new braking and downshifting points are, because that will all have changed since qualifying and practice. Whoa, gets his nose underneath Bob Herber on the inside. But Herber has the line into the tight left-hander at Strummen, so he keeps himself in front. No question though, Willem Meyer is giving him a really good run for his money. And Meyer with a run down Fenslang. And this is where Herber struggles under braking. Bob Herber on the inside. Oh, and Willem Meyer had to cut the corner a little to stay in front. Great racing between the two very different BMWs. Start the race in Supersport 1 on board with Drivers' Champion Costa Canaroglu in 6th place. That's Ronald van Loon on the left. Coming past Benjamin Vandenberg. Great start from the orange car of Marcel van der Maat. And it's he that grabs the lead of the Supersport 1 class. Erik van der Munkhoff on the left. Benjamin Vandenberg squeezes past Ronald van Loon. Van Loon on the outside, the blue and white BMW. And Van der Munkhoff trying to squeeze through. Costa Canaroglu getting bumped and bored a little. Now he tries to go the long way around the outside of Van der Munkhoff. That might be working for him. He's got himself in front, at least temporarily, but here comes Erik van der Munkhoff in the Z4 GTR, and he goes back in front for 4th place. Closing in fast from behind is Koreuser in another M3. And Costa Canaroglu once more trying to take the battle to Erik van der Munkhoff, feeling more comfortable with the car this weekend. Oh, drifts a little offline. Oh, and through goes Koreuser. recovers his composure, but Dennis de Boer's trying to go around the outside in the Seat Leon as well in the Gert Timmer chicane. Restarting after the safety car, and Marcel van der Mark, Benjamin van den Berg still leading the field, but Korreuser very much quicker at the restart, jumping up to third ahead of Erik van der Munkhoff and Ronald van Loon. On board again with Costa Canaroglu around the outside of Van Loon, cuts to the inside, so he moves up into 5th position. Ronald van Loon all arms and elbows. Erik van der Munkhoff pulling up alongside Korreuser, and he goes back up into 3rd position. Ronald van Loon lunging to the inside, can't get back through Costa Canaroglu. Benjamin van den Berg struggling in the 1 Series, reporting that he's got an intermittent power steering fault, and that is not helping the number 245 machine. Erik van der Munkhoff and Korreuser chasing hard. Costa Canaroglu closing on the back of Korreuser's M3. Van der Munkhoff with a run on Benjamin van den Berg for 2nd in class. Marcel van der Mark leading Supersport 1 with the orange machine that he'll hand over to Pere Schroers. Benjamin van den Berg down to 3rd. Costa Canaroglu into the tight and twisty section. Goes around the outside of Korreuser, and that becomes the inside in the tight left-hander. Right behind Benjamin van den Berg, so he's now up to 4th place. Costa Canaroglu starting to pick up the spots in the Ginetta. But again, around the outside comes Korreuser. Canaroglu can't quite hold him off, he'll have to do it all again. Benjamin van den Berg slightly the stopper in the bottle as the battle rages all around him. Again, Costa Canaroglu alongside Korreuser. And Korreuser, a real racing veteran, just leans a little on the Ginetta. He needed that bit of track, and so he took it. And as a result, Costa Canaroglu not very happy with that, losing a little bit of ground to the Dutchman. Now Oyser needs to get by Benjamin van den Berg sooner rather than later to try and escape the Ginetta. He's on the inside, still on the inside, and van den Berg can't hang on. Heading out onto the back straight fence line. Korreuser now needs to get his foot down and get away, and for Costa Canaroglu, right up behind the 1 Series BMW, here's an opportunity to strike. Oh, and you can see how much of a struggle that was for Benjamin van den Berg. Costa Canaroglu just went straight through Van den Berg's car, drifting off track as he fought the lack of steering control. This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla, create your own digital magazine. Round 5 of the Supercar Challenge at the TT Circuit of Assen in race 2. Because of a further rev restriction in the GT class for the M4 Silhouettes, the Porsches have the opening advantage. Roger Graals, the race leader, now he dropped out of race 1 with gearbox problems, has the lead in race 2. Drifting off wide at Ramshoek, and he is under pressure from Frenchman Alexandre Joannem, who goes through, and Willem Meyer, who moves up to 2nd. The 17-year-old Meyer with a bit between his teeth, challenging Alexandre Joannem, and he dives through to grab the lead of the GT class. Only his 2nd drive in this car. Fantastic stuff. Here is our Supersport 1 class. And the 1 Series of Benjamin van den Berg, car number 245, dropping down from 2nd early on to 5th place. Ruud Olly all over the back of him. With van den Berg, an intermittent power steering issue means that he's struggling. And he drops back. Through goes Ruud Olly. up to 5th position. Marcel van der Mark leading through to the mandatory pit stops, hands over to Peter Schroyers. 5 result seconds for them, but look behind as Ronald hands over to Luc van Loon with 0 result seconds. They get in front. Ed van der Munkhoff out of the top 3 because of 30 result seconds for him. Costa Canaroglu with 15 result seconds also drops down a little. But here is the battle then behind Ruud Olly, the race leader, for 2nd position. Luc van Loon versus Peter Schroyers. BMW M3 versus BMW 3 Series, both with 3.2 litre engines. Luc van Loon held up behind a slower car. Peter Schroyers closing right in, lunges to the inside. But he now is boxed up behind the slower BMW. Can he hang on? Wheel spin trying to get the power down. Just squeezing in front of Luc van Loon. Fierce battle for 2nd. Luc throws his car up the inside. Peter Schroyers though with the tighter inside line. And he will be still in 2nd place as they head on to the long, fast back straight. But Luc van Loon, taking over from Dad Ronald for the 2nd stint, has got a good run going. Down the inside, classic passing position into the right-handed sweeper Ruskenhoek. And he decides he can't hang on the inside. And still, it's the orange car in front. Right behind is Costa Canaroglu, closing in now on Luc van Loon. And the Ginetta G50 in the twisty stuff, very much a match for the BMWs. But as the top speed comes into effect, Luc van Loon just with a slender advantage towards the end of the lap. This is very quick indeed. Canaroglu couldn't quite hold on. Now he'll try and line him up at the chicane. The long way around the outside becomes the inside at the 2nd apex, and through goes Costa Canaroglu. Great piece of racing by the Ginetta driver. Mandatory pit stop for GT race leader Willem Meyer. Lost the lead in race 1, forgetting to start the stopwatch that times the stop. Hopefully he's done it this time. Alexander Joannem comes in for his pit stop, handing over to his Turkish co-driver Cengiz Sakar.
Yeah, actually this time with the Porsches was nice. Familiar view, familiar sight. We did something overnight with the car and it worked really well. So the pace was there, I felt good. Tires were fine, so yeah, I tried to push as hard as I could. I had to deal with traffic, which was a bit tricky sometimes, but all in all, was quite a good stint. I'm happy with myself and with the job the team did with the car. Really great today, so overall very happy.
Also in for his mandatory pit stop, Porsche driver Roger Graals, in from 3rd place. 15 result seconds is 15 fewer than Willem Meyer. Turkish driver Cengiz Sakar eventually drops down to 4th place, so Roger Graals takes the lead after the pit stops as he overtakes brother Edward at De Bolt, who was the leader after his pit stop. Roger and Edward Graals then a 1-2 for Porsche ahead of Willem Meyer in the all-white M4 silhouette, and Cengiz Sakar in his Porsche in 4th place. Only one BMW M4 silhouette left in the race after the opening couple of laps, and it's that of rookie Willem Meyer, but he is soon on the attack, slices up the inside of Edward Graals for 2nd place, and Roger Graals, the race leader in the GT class, is not far in front. Willem Meyer using all the road and more to keep himself in front. Last lap, last chance coming up for Willem Meyer. Roger Graals in front, slower traffic. And that impedes the Porsche a little. You heard just a tiny lift from Willem Meyer, but he's got a run going the long way round the outside. Fantastically brave stuff. Wheel to wheel up to the final chicane on the last lap. He grabs the lead. Can Graals come back at him? There's nowhere left. And Willem Meyer, the rookie, is going to win only his 2nd Supercar Challenge race by inches. 99 thousandths of a second in front. Astonishing stuff from Willem Meyer.
Dit was gigantisch. Knokken tot het einde. uitkomen, Ram zoeken, had ik hem nog te pakken.
Fantastic.
Dit was zo
Great
gaaf.
battle all the way to the finish line. At the outside of Ramshoek, I got by. Absolutely awesome. My ABS had stopped working, so some places I had a lock-up, had a flat spot. Really hard to keep up my pace. I'm knackered, but amazing. Superb. And another battle to the finish line for 5th position. Marcel van Berlo just holding off Jos Janssen in their Porsches. In fact, Porsche's taking positions 2 to 6. But it is Willem Meyer in the BMW M4 Silhouette who comes out on top. And if it hadn't been for the pesky kid, Roger and Edward Graals would have completed a family 1-2. Roger Graals retired from race 1. Vaardsluis and Bas Schouten retired from race 2, but because the BMW drivers won race 1 and also got extra points for fastest lap and pole, they have a slight championship advantage. Back in Supersport 1, and 2 regular front runners here squabbling over 7th place. Behind is Robert Vandenberg in the 1 Series BMW, which has got intermittent power steering issues, hounding Stan Van Oord in a Seat Leon with gearbox problems. Dennis de Boers explains, we've had to put in a standard DSG gearbox, and that makes it more difficult to accelerate, less powerful through the lower revs. The gear ratios are totally different as well. It's our first time out with this gearbox, so I had to get used to it in my stint. During the pit stops, I also forgot to activate the pit stop timer. That's the first time that's happened to me, so clearly Lady Luck is not on our side. But our main championship contenders, Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink, are only 6, no major loss. Ruud Olly with a chance of victory, perhaps leading the Supersport 1 class from the fast closing Peter Schroyers. Schroyers slicing up the inside. And through he goes at the get, Timur chicane. Costa Kanaroglu right behind. That's the 1-2-3 in Supersport 1. Kanaroglu all over the back of Ruud Olly. Looking to go through on the inside. A little bit of a touch. Nothing major. Ooh, Ollie trying to squeeze and come down the inside of Rob NIEMAN's car. Big contact that time though. Costa Kanaroglu with damage on the front. He'll drop down to 7th. Ruud Olly down to 6th. As victory goes to Peter Schroyers and Marcel van der Maart in the orange BMW M3. Ronald Luc van Loon claims 2nd, Korreuser in 3rd place, and despite not being on the podium, Henry Zumbrink does what you do when there's a big crowd. You play up to them. Lots of smoke and donuts. Confirmation of the result, Korreuser 3rd, Ronald Luc van Loon 2nd, but Marcel van der Maart and Peter Schroyers take victory. Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink do open up their lead by 2 points, but there's barely a race win. 25 points between them and 2nd in the championship, Dennis de Boers and Martin de Klein. Anything could happen next time out at Brands Hatch in Kent. In Supersport 2, again René Snell started from pole position. Race 1 winner Bart Aronson sharing the car with Father Jupp. Despite setting the fastest lap times in their class, lose the lead to René Snell. Mark Dacus again in 3rd place. René Snell gets the Sunday victory. Bart Aronson winning on Saturday and 2nd on Sunday with Dad Jupp. Engine woes for the BMW Silhouette with a 2-litre Honda engine, 6 in race 1, 2 laps down, weren't even able to start in race 2. The Peugeot RCZ 1.6 turbo of Martin Kool and Pete de Geer again led the race up to the pit stops in the sport class. After pit stops, battle raged for 2nd between Bart Drost and Marcel DEKKER in Jos Velber's car. Clio Spirit Racing battle. A great fight, but Marcel DEKKER and Jos Velber would eventually take 2nd, ahead of Chris Vert and Bart Vanderbroek, who received a penalty for contact with Rob NIEMAN on lap 1 of the race. Martin Kool and Pete de Geer made no mistakes to claim their first win of the season, 55 seconds clear of the competition. A better result after 2nd place in the opening race of the weekend. They claim the win on Sunday.
Ja, zeker. Beter dan gisteren.
Much better than yesterday, said Pete. Made a few changes to the car setup. Luckily, that was an improvement. I think that's why we claimed the win. We had consistent lap times. Martin did a great job as well, and we're very happy. Sandra van der Sloot and John van der Voort finished 4th with the spare Clio. Rob Neiman 7th after the collision with Chris Voort. There's no change in the positions, but Chris Voort and Bart van den Broek's lead has slightly opened. Round 6 of the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli will be on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit on the 8th, 9th and 10th of September. And guest drivers are welcome to join the GT, Supersport 1, Supersport 2 and Sport divisions, and you are welcome too. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine.